This week on the Virtual Skeptics, Bob's dying up here. He goes fairy hunting. Barb sees God, or something. And Tim?
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 Tim.
Tim.
I'm your host. My name is Brian Gregory. And let me tell you about my stamina.
Let's see your
I
fingers.
have got wonderful stamina.
You don't have the look, though. You just don't have the right look.
I don't have the look, but I do have the stamina.
An orange
Whoops.
pee-pee?
What?
I hate that
You had to
guy.
go there already?
Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah.
Do you have the sniffles?
No.
No, but I have the meows.
God,
Hi, everyone.
Jesse.
Thanks for tuning in. And welcome to the show.
He's playing.
This is Skeptics. Let me introduce the crew, because you guys haven't heard this a million times before. If you haven't, then I'm going to do it for you. Just you that haven't, right there, that has not heard this a million times.
But
First up, we have, what?
It's a good idea.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Bob to finish ruffling his paper.
No, I'm playing with the cat.
Okay. This is Bob Laskowitz playing with his cat. CSI's conspiracy web columnist. Yes, and blogger for Skeptical Humanities and Skepticality contributor and cat owner.
The toy stopped moving.
Yes.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
Come move it for me. Yes.
Editor and blogger at Skeptical Humanities and contributor to Skepticality and Insight at skeptic.com. And this is Barbara Drescher, former psychology instructor, blogger for ICBS Everywhere, and contributor to skeptical projects such as Insight at skeptic.com and The Odds Must Be Crazy. Tim's not here. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Brian.
I was going to roll right into my Tim intro, and Tim's not here, so Tim doesn't get one. Thanks for tuning in for this wonderful show. If you want to participate in this nonsense that we do, you can hashtag Virtual Skeptics on Twitter. You can comment on the YouTube. Actually, there's a little chat thing, which I'm going to try to pay attention to as best I can. And if you say something or ask something that you'd be interested in adding to the show, we will include you. But for now, we do the thing what we always do every week. We ask the trivia question, which is not here. Does anybody have a trivia question? Because I apparently... Crickets.
Think of a number between 1 and 10.
Yes. Well, we're doing a psychic test this week. If you can think of the number that I'm thinking of... please tweet that, and we will give you credits. Also, I usually play something on the screen behind me. If you can figure out what that is and tweet about that or comment on the YouTube, then I will give you credit for that as well. Rolling right along, starting this week, is the wonderful Barbara Drescher. And you found God?
I saw God. I didn't find God. I saw God.
Oh, it does say sees. It sees God.
Yeah.
Where did you see God?
Well, apparently a bunch of people saw God or something in the tribute light for 9/11 on 9/11. If you would bring up the first slide.
I am. Boing.
So, yeah, if you take a look there, that's a photograph that was taken on 9/11 this year. And if you look at the next slide, it kind of, I zoomed in on the God person thing there. It's just clearly just the light bouncing off of clouds.
That's Zeus. Clearly it's Zeus.
And it's not unusual. It's not unusual to see faces in clouds, or shapes of any kind in clouds, or smoke for that matter. In fact, I guess I should have put these in a slightly different order. But I thought it would be fun to, bring up a few examples that we have seen in the past of these sorts of things, because they're always fun. So my first slide is one that I don't believe I have shared before. And this is a volcano eruption. And this is a great shot that there are actually several shots taken from slightly different angles that people have taken of this person thing.
Volcano Man.
Yeah,
wow,
it
that's
looks,
awesome.
It does.
That is
Doesn't it
cool.
look like
Yeah.
you know, he's gonna stomp over the town?
It's like it's
So
going to
this
solidify and
was,
start walking, and Godzilla will come out of the ocean and fight him.
yeah, Smoke Man. I don't know.
No, that's the lamest name ever. I'm sorry.
Pyroclastic Man. What was that?
Pyroclastic floor guy.
Pyroclastic. Well, I didn't know that it's a
Pyroclastic
flow,
Man?
but yeah, there you go.
It was one of the first suggestions for the leader of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So this is in Chile,
Let me get that.
not in Japan. So I don't know how that's going to work, but there you go. So that was about a year and a half ago in Chile. And one of my favorites, it was actually a couple of years ago. I think I shared this when it came out, I think, on the show. This is in Cape Coral. So this would be the next slide. Yes, this is in Cape Coral, Florida. Very strong god there.
Yeah,
God
it's like
man, or
Hercules
Thor.
from the Disney movie.
And
Yeah.
the background.
And he's doing this. I don't know. He sort of has a humpback. What was that?
In the background, to the right side, there's the thinker.
The Thinker, yes. Facing the other
I
direction.
didn't even
Yes.
notice that. You're right.
I thought it was a
I
dog.
never noticed that. See, he was overlooked. He was overlooked because
And
you
in
know,
the far
everybody's
back,
looking at
there's
the-
President Lincoln.
Well, to be fair, the sun is not shining directly behind the thinker, so he's not making him look like an angel. And some of my
It's
favorites
like
are
Arnold Schwarzenegger
Don't
kind
pay
of
attention.
flexing.
but he's doing this. So I don't know. Is he a hunchback?
I think he's just got his shoulders up, flexing.
You know, Igor God.
Okay, I can't do it.
Igor Man. So a couple of my favorites, I just pulled it from my collection. A bunny and a butterfly are in the next slide. Yeah. Because clouds are really, you know, I mean, there is a reason why people sit and stare at the clouds and say, oh, there's a bunny rabbit.
Because they're high as hell.
Because they're ambiguous and they form all sorts of shapes. And it's fun to, you know, talk about what kind of shapes they are. So it's just when they look like faces or when they look like people that people suddenly think that it's God. So there, and the next slide is another one of my favorites.
Bunnies could be looking at
actually
that
love
and saying,
this
that's the great bunny god.
Yes, they could be. You're right. I didn't think about that. They could be.
Is this Falcor?
Is this what?
Falcor?
Okay. My absolute
You don't
favorite
get that
though,
reference? Oh my God!
No, I don't get that one. But I figured
Never
other
Ending
people
Story?
did.
The Luck Dragon. Falcor.
I hated Never Ending Story.
Oh my God.
I hated that movie. I know I'm terrible. I'm like the only person on the planet that doesn't care for chocolate, hates avocado, and absolutely despises Never Ending Story.
I don't understand.
You don't like chocolate?
I only tried to watch Never Ending Story once though, so maybe I'd like it now. No, I don't really care for chocolate. It's not that I hate it. I just don't care for it that much.
How do you feel about bacon?
Love it. So
Okay.
does that?
Okay.
Am I
Good.
redeemed?
We're good.
Okay.
Wow. I thought I was going to ask her.
Wow,
No.
we avoided
As long as
something
it's not,
nasty there.
as long as it's
Yes.
not too fatty. So the
just
next
move
one
on.
is my absolute favorite because this is the Cumulopegasus
There you go.
sextilegus.
Oh my God.
It's the Pegasus with 6 legs.
6 legs.
Or
And the
maybe
the
even
rear
8.
2 legs have
yeah,
high,
it sort of look like double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like wearing high heels on the back legs.
It could be no. It looks like two pig butts.
Oh, so
Double
it's
butted,
Yes, it could be
double
pig.
butted
two
Cumulopegasus
It's a pig pair.
sextilegus.
It's a parapegus.
It's got 2 butts instead of 2 heads. Wasn't
Whoa.
that that was Bob's Burgers episode?
The
So
beast with 2 butts.
yeah, I think it was a
Everything.
goat. I think it was a goat. I don't remember. Something like that.
Butts.
So, but so I thought it was kind of cool when I was doing my my little search for actually I was looking for the original one because I had accidentally closed it. I found this video of one that was taken in 2011, and it was actually a video, so it wasn't just a still. But I thought it was really cool because in this slide, this is like the beginning of the video where he's filming the storm, and this is what the clouds look like in the beginning. And then about a minute later into the video, he goes back to the same set of clouds, and they look a little different. And if you play the video, you can see the clouds forming into the shape.
If you do a reverse image search on this, it'll probably identify the video.
Yeah.
You can't play it.
It's just all I have is a screenshot.
Still, oh crap! Okay, I didn't put it in there right.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Oh, okay, cool.
There it goes.
So,
hey.
So if you play it, you can see how the shape form, and it actually, to me, it kind of looks a little like Mount Rushmore there for a while, because it looks like there are several
it's a doom pig
heads in there.
I thought it was a doom
But
pig.
yeah, it sort of looks like a pig. But eventually, what people happens is
I saw this one. The alien ship's going to come out of there.
Yeah, it's
and
weird.
Blow up the White House.
But he's filming, and then all of a sudden the guy goes, "Oh, a face!" And he's all shocked and everything.
How far into it is it?
I thought I started it at a minute. I thought a minute into it. No, I guess not. Okay, so skip forward a bit. There you go. Okay, so this is where it starts to look like Mount Rushmore, I think. But he doesn't say anything about that, and nobody clips from this part of the video. They clip when the face in the front starts to really look like a face. But you can just see how the cloud kind of forms from, it's still an ambiguous thing, but it
oh my God, it's Donald Trump.
This familiar shape.
Yeah.
Set this the wrong color.
I don't know. He's got awfully big cheeks. He's maybe a young Donald Trump. Not saggy cheeks. But this is where everybody starts to clip it and say, "Oh, it's his face," and then it disappears
pretty quickly too.
Because that's what happens. I mean, it's not some mysterious force.
You're saying the human brain is not mysterious? Oh, come on!
It's called pareidolia.
Yeah.
And if you skip to the next slide, this is where people usually stop it and say, "Oh my God, it's a face!" And
it's
so
Abe Lincoln, clearly.
Yeah. Without the beard.
No, there's the beard. I can see.
Yeah, it's really short.
The beard.
It's really short.
No, it's Charlton Heston.
I don't know.
As Abraham Lincoln.
No, as Moses.
As you all know, this is called pareidolia. It's pattern recognition, and we are particularly good at seeing faces and ambiguous things. But we see all sorts of things in clouds, and even in things like fire. If you go to the next slide, which is one of my favorite examples of pareidolia in fire, somebody took that picture and said, "Oh my God, it's John Paul II, 2 years after he died." Yeah.
The picture on the right looks exactly like him.
It does.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Do you think as a ghost he still has bad posture?
Yeah.
He had Parkinson's.
He looks like he's stepping out to me and waving.
So he doesn't get healed of that after
I don't know. It could be Ginger Rogers. I mean, why it's John Paul?
I guess that was
and
kind of an inappropriate
Rogers.
joke.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
I thought maybe he'd be healed of that stuff when he's never mind.
Well, at the time of bodily resurrection, you're sort of supposed to be your best you.
That's what I thought. But
yeah, a spry.
But we haven't gotten to bodily resurrection yet.
But honestly, truthfully, that shape, if you weren't told that it was John Paul II, you wouldn't think John Paul II. You might think it looks like a person, and maybe an angel, maybe, as I said before, Ginger Rogers.
Fire butterfly.
But,
can't you do capture that
with a Buddhist monk?
That's even more inappropriate than my joke, Bob. Thank you.
Took a second to sink in there.
No, I got it right away.
I offended you.
Yes.
I was just trying
to comment.
For it.
Yeah, me too. Just trying to ignore. But you know, the smoke and fire stuff is every time there's any picture of any explosion or something, people dig through it for pictures of faces. There's so many for 9/11, it's unreal. This is one of the most popular ones. And the next slide.
Yeah.
That face that you see, if you don't see the face, go to the next slide and you will see where it has been cropped out. And this is just one example. There are many examples of different, taken from different angles, different explosions, different parts of the smoke, you know, of things where people have said their face. And somebody even went beyond this actually has been used as proof of a controlled demolition. I don't know how you get that, but yeah, because I guess the bombs normally have evil faces in them. I don't know. If you go to the next one, somebody even went further and said that it was the whole shape of the devil and outlined the shape.
What?
You know, the sickle and everything.
Yeah. A little devil.
Little devil.
You know, like a Pikachu.
It's got a.
I know.
Yes.
An evil Pikachu.
This is foreshadowing Pokemon Go.
It's bizarre.
People involved in conspiracies are always brilliant, but they always make that one crucial mistake, like putting an evil face in their smoke.
I know.
They do. I know.
I mean,
Just,
if you're gonna
when would they learn? Why make it so obvious?
Why use ghost bombs? I mean,
yeah,
really. So one thing that I found, though, found really interesting was something that happened in August of this year. It was this family that has a ranch, and the ranch there was a fire that reached the ranch, and the firemen told the family that their cabins were going to be destroyed. They were probably going to go in the fire, and so they prayed. And what gets me about this is that the hype around this was like, oh, they prayed and God saved their family ranch. These are not destitute people. They don't live on the ranch full time. This is their vacation home. But they prayed and prayed and prayed. And
was God available for comment?
No. But he did send a messenger.
Good.
So
Bob, this is God.
And their cabins were saved. Their cabins did not go up in flames. However, they know that God did this because God sent the messenger. If you go to the next slide, you will see the messenger in the smoke.
I
won't.
That's a Death Eater.
That's a tree, what it is. And God circled it, yes.
Yeah, that circle's pretty unusual, natural phenomena.
Now, this showed up on a few news sites, but where I found it was on godupdates.com, where they had a poll.
Has God updated it himself?
Probably, because he likes polls. He likes the ego stroke that he gets from polls, like the next slide shows.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
It is definitely a sign from God.
Wow.
It's not just a coincidence. And hell, I'm not sure. Just glad everyone's safe. Those were the only three options, apparently.
So 92% of the people were not okay. Everyone's safe.
I don't know how many people answer this because 4.9. So 4.9 thousand. That's not very many. But
how does this shit get viewed, but we don't?
Because it's God updates. We should rename ourselves virtual.
Maybe it's
skeptics of God. I don't know.
Maybe it's inappropriate jokes. I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I just found this one just head scratching, and of course they think it's a sign from God. They're reading God updates.
There is that. Yeah, it is a bit of.
It's not exactly a scientific poll. It's sort of like the although I doubt it was hit by trolls like the debate
Trump
polls,
polls.
but yeah, the Trump polls. Jesus, those cracked me up. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So I actually did find a really funny conspiracy thing about the debates, but it was so short it just wasn't worth showing. It was somebody who I didn't put any slides up, but somebody who took a picture of Hillary leaning over
Oh yeah.
at the end of the debate to shake somebody, and they said it was hidden microphones or maybe a defibrillator. Yeah.
It was a hitting microphone because that's what they
microphone related.
But they were
exactly
suggesting it was feeding her answers and all of that, and it was insane. Or a defibrillator.
Yeah.
Probably.
My first thought is it really that unusual to have a wireless mic when you're doing a television show? I mean, even if it was just a backup, it's just weird. Anyway.
So hypothetically, if you could, have an earpiece where all the answers to the questions were given to you, why wouldn't Trump have one too?
Yeah, and is the person who's giving her the answers the person who's really going to be president if she gets elected? Why won't they show their face? I don't know. It was just weird, and it wasn't enough to talk about, so I thought this was more fun. And you know how much I love pareidolia.
Yeah, that was fun.
Thanks, I am pleased.
You're
welcome.
Entertaining. And Tim is next, but he's not here, so
damn Tim.
We'll just say, I hope he's enjoying his new house.
Yeah, congratulations, Tim.
Congratulations, Tim, on your new house. Yay! I hope the internet gets installed and it's 5-speed. That's actually my new blessing whenever I meet someone. Hope your house has got high-speed internet.
May you have Google Fiber.
Yes, maybe you have Google Fiber for your whole life. And no minutes. Oh, never mind. Bob's next, and he's dying up here, which is there.
Yeah. Okay.
What is this about, Bob?
Nothing really struck me this week as exciting. Even last week was kind of a slow week. I watched the debates, which were, it turns out, about as widely watched as the Super Bowl, but without the commercials. In honor of Donald Trump's somewhat, how do I say, whimsical improv performance, I would like
nicely put.
I would like to present another quiz. This time it will be people who died on stage. So first up.
I'm scared, Bob.
First up, in 1673, this man, if you could bring up the first image, the premier actor of his day, Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, who you may know as Molière, collapsed during a performance and died of what? A stab wound by a wig dealer, an attack by a pig that had been brought on stage for a farm scene, a violent bloody coughing fit during a performance of his play, The Hypochondriac, or he was crushed when the set of Tartuffe collapsed.
I'm going pig.
Yeah, you gonna say pig? Barb?
I'm going the last one.
Tartuffe, the
crushed by the stage collapse.
Yeah. I've done Tartuffe though. It doesn't have a lot of didn't have a lot of stage. But I suppose you could set it up, with more. We didn't have a lot of. We did it in the round, so we didn't have a lot of set.
Or maybe a turtle fell on his head. No, that's cool.
That was not an option. I'm going to say the coughing fit, actually.
The answer is the coughing fit. He died during a performance of The Hypochondriac. Well, he collapsed and then he died shortly thereafter. So, yeah.
I think I actually heard that or something, or read that somewhere or something, because it had a spark.
Every time.
Pig?
I'm going pig every time.
Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be a pig in everything.
I hope no one takes that soundbite out of context.
I bet at one point that's probably going to be the correct answer.
So, if you bring up the blank screen next, you get all the points. All right, so which of the following is not a way that a character, Eve, you're excluded, in one of Shakespeare's plays dies?
Pig.
One, pursued by a bear. 2, baked into a pie. 3, buried to the neck and starved. Or 4, constipation.
Eve?
She can't say. She knows.
He said I couldn't
Oh, yeah,
answer.
you know that one? How about Barb? You have a guess?
I'm a little rusty on my Shakespeare, but I don't remember a character who was pursued by a bear.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with that one.
I was actually thinking the same thing. That was the only one that was like, I don't know of what.
Sorry, that is the most famous stage direction.
Eve, you're blowing
Is it really?
it.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Exit. Pursued by bear.
Yeah.
Well, then what were the other
Where?
choices? The other ones were...
was that?
You already guessed. You're
I know, but what was
okay.
that from?
All right.
What was the Pursued by Bear from? Because I want to know that first.
Was it? It wasn't Titus.
It's one of
Was
the
it?
romances. What?
It wasn't Titus Andronicus, was it?
No, that's the
Baked into a
served.
pie.
Yeah.
Yum.
I think it's one of the romances, but I don't.
Okay. So that's probably why
Nobody
I don't know.
died of constipation in Shakespeare.
But it's
Oh,
the
come
most
on!
famous. It's the most famous stage direction, and you don't know what play it's from.
Hang on.
I didn't say it was the most famous stage direction.
She
Eve
did.
said that. Yes.
Nobody died of
Probably
constipation.
not.
Yeah, I
This
thought
is,
that was
this is
something that
definitely
you did
falling
on
apart a bit. Hey.
Winter's Tale. It's Winter's Tale.
There you go.
Huh.
I've never
I said
actually
romance.
read Winter's Tale.
See, died of constipation
I've
just
read it.
sounds
Yeah,
so
read it.
Shakespearean.
It does,
Really?
doesn't it?
It does.
And I knew the
But
other
of course,
two.
he probably did not write the stage, or very well may not have written the stage direction. To be fair.
Yeah, those are additions.
Huh.
So,
Yeah. Often.
So.
all right,
Well
so
then.
bring up the next slide,
what's
please. This man, who we
This
just
man.
saw on a cloud, this man, Clement Vallandigham, is a lawyer from Ohio who died during a trial in 1871. How did he die? He was trampled by a stampede of cows that were brought into the courtroom as evidence. He accidentally shot himself dead, showing how it might be possible for a shooting victim to shoot himself accidentally. He was defending a patent medicine salesman and defiantly swigged the man's remedy. It was his client, to demonstrate that it was perfectly safe. Or he fell from the back of a horse during his closing argument, a habit he picked up as a Union military lawyer during the Civil War.
I have no idea. Eve? Do you know this one?
Pigs. Actually,
No pigs in
just
this one.
based on the question came out of Bob, I'd go patent medicine.
Yeah.
Huh.
Barb?
I'm going to go with option 2.
Which one was that?
I don't remember.
Shot himself.
Shot himself.
Shot himself.
Demonstrating how it would be easy to shoot
How you
yourself.
could do that. Okay.
My instinct, although this is a wild guess because I don't know anything about any of this, is that it's he accidentally swilled his client's stuff and killed himself.
It was that he shot himself.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, way to go, Barb.
I figured the swill stuff, swigging the swill or chugging the swill was something that Bob created because it was funny.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it was.
It was.
Red herring.
Yeah,
and ironic.
Yeah, but the other one, so it turns out that he wanted to show the other defense attorneys. This was a shooting in a bar. The guy, the defendant, Thomas McGahan, who they were defending, he wanted to. He was showing the other attorneys like the move that he thought how somebody could shoot themselves, and so he picked up a pistol that he thought was unloaded and then acted it out, snagging the loaded gun on his clothing and causing it to discharge into his belly. Although he was fatally wounded, Vallandigham's demonstration proved his point, and the defendant, Thomas McGeehan, was acquitted and released from custody, only to be shot to death 4 years later in his own saloon.
Of course.
Just goes to show that you should always check the chamber.
See, to me, it's there have been so many accidents like that, so many actors killed from, blanks and things like that just
shouldn't
seem
trust
totally logical.
It's like packing a parachute. You need to trust. You need to check it yourself.
That's why I don't like those things. I don't like guns. I don't like them near me. They freak me out.
Parachutes. They'll go off.
So speaking of people of people dying in movies, how many people were killed during the filming of the 1931 movie The Viking? Was it 5? Was it 13? Was it 21? Or was it 27?
Eve?
Not enough. Sorry.
You hated the movie?
I don't know. Which movie is this?
The Viking.
It's The Viking.
I know. Is this Kirk Douglas or
no?
No.
What was it? What was the year?
Oh,
31. 31.
1930. Oh, yeah.
I just want to know, was it because, ironically, a band of Vikings actually showed up and did the Blood Eagle on everyone?
No. it was certainly not that. All lungs remained. No, actually, not all lungs may have remained inside the body. So, yeah.
I'm going to say some. And that one.
5, 13, 21, 27.
Barb?
Okay, my back hurts now. Thank you for these.
Yeah.
And I have absolutely no freaking clue, so I'm just going to guess 13.
Okay.
What were the numbers again?
5, 13, 21, 27.
21. Just a random guess.
The correct answer is 27 people died in the making of that movie.
Holy shit.
Well, what happened was it was about a boat called the Viking, a ship that was used to go seal hunting. That's it. That's the ship. So it was a sealing ship that went up and down the Labrador coast. And at the end of the shoot, the director and producer and a real life adventurer named Varric Frissell, who was involved with the shoot, said that they needed more shot of the ice floes. So he and a small film crew went back on the Viking, which became trapped in the ice and was destroyed when the dynamite that would have been used to free it from the ice exploded.
Oh, no.
So it was a massive disaster, right?
Wow.
So, all right, so the last humorous death that we will talk about, according to his death certificate, how did 13-year-old William Snyder die in 1855? Was he, 1, eaten by bees? Was he, 2, killed by being swung around by the heels by a circus clown? 3, suffocated by a buxom ant? Or furious self-abuse?
I think that Eve gave this one away in the pre-show.
Well, yeah, the slides actually did. But I'm actually going to say, because Bob says it all the freaking time, eaten by bees.
Eaten by bees.
I've tried to explain to him the problem with this. I don't
think that's possible.
That's how it works.
As opposed to being smothered by a buxom ant? Is that an ant that has you in it or not?
They're not all
okay, the visual makes no sense. None.
Right.
Is it an ant or an
My brain is like twisted now because I'm trying to visualize.
So you guys have seen the answer?
Yeah.
You bastards.
Yes.
All right, so bring up the slide. He was killed by being swung around by the heels by a circus clown.
There you go. Here's the actual record.
Well, this is not this is on a typewriter, so this is a record probably from the cemetery, I'm guessing. Because it tells you where he's buried.
That's really sad.
I think the circus clown is probably unemployed now, or at least has to. I guess it's circus. They probably just up and left. So the next town they wouldn't know, right?
It's all piled into that tiny little car.
They'll get back in the little car and go to the next town.
I was actually really surprised that you didn't bring up when you started with the death on a stage. I was really surprised you didn't bring up the guy. Who was it? Was it Dick Shawn? Who died on stage, and people thought it was part of the show. And
oh yeah,
no,
so
that's because
sad.
people had heard of that.
Okay. I don't know how many people have heard of it. It wasn't that long ago, but
It was the guy who was hung, right?
No. This was a little bit long. This was like probably 10 years ago, 15 maybe. He had a heart attack or something like that, and it collapsed on the stage, and people thought it was part of the show.
Right.
So it wasn't an accident of the show, like the guy who hung. It was, and that was stupid because there are ways to hang people that are safe on a stage, but he collapsed, and people thought it was part of the play, and because I think he was supposed to have some sort of attack. But.
In the play with him?
Yeah, I don't know the whole story, but I remember that it was like 5 minutes before people really knew. It was a long time before people really knew. I'm going to say it was
Rigor
Dick
mortis
Shawn.
Was it Macbeth? I'm just wondering. No?
No. I'm going to look it up while you guys talk.
Okay.
It wasn't Dick Shawn.
The Scottish play.
Who was it?
Should we move on, or should we wait for you to Google?
Move on. It might take me a while. Wikipedia has a list of entertainers who died during a performance.
Where do you think I got my
interesting
shit, dude?
We're all about
That's
the Wikipedia
cool.
here on.
I'm sorry. I just find it
Is there a
fascinating.
Wikipedia page on people who were eaten by bees
No.
or smothered by ants?
There is. Well, eaten by
Susan
bees.
Gerbic is going to work on that page for me.
Yes. That would be against the whole point. There is a page on who people who've been killed by robots.
It's true.
Yeah, it's a very
Really?
short list
That's,
actually. They're saving it all for the big event. So
Sounds very segue-y.
yes, except for I'm not next.
I'm
going to segue into things.
Segue, but
Yes.
he blew it.
It is totally not robot related. Yes. So Eve is next, and something to do with fairies, but not robots.
And not really fairies, but okay. So
But you're going to look for fairies and not find them, or are they going to be in clouds?
you never, no. Well, so last week there was this demon fairy. If you can bring up the first slide.
Demon fairy.
Yeah, and it's a hoax. Good night. Wait,
It's
no,
a figure.
actually,
I have one on my. Oh,
you have your own
That's
demon fairy?
well, actually, no. That's John Barrowman, right?
Oh.
Right there, so.
And, well, there is slightly more to the story than that. Not a lot. But in July, fringe Christian researchers, L.A. Marzulli and Richard Shaw appeared on Skywatch TV, a fringy, Christian-themed conspiracist UFO media thing, where the intro narrator kind of sounds like the guy from Honest Trailers. Oh, and they also did a show on clown sightings. Anyway.
That was good.
Yeah. They were talking about a dead but mummified or pickled demon fairy that they'd seen.
It was Dick Shawn.
Yay!
Sorry. It was Dick
Yay
Shawn.
for Dick Shawn being...
He struck his head. He didn't have a heart attack. He struck his head on the stage, and he laid on the stage for 5 minutes until the audience realized that it was not part of his act. So it was during a comic. He was a comedian.
Yeah. I thought it was
during a play, but it was during a comedian. Yeah, it was during one of his stand-up acts. I like Dick Shawn. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. So Marzulli and Shaw were also promoting their the latest work in their DVD series, Watchers, which interprets UFOs as fallen aliens / Nephilim. Watchers 10, they've made 10 of them, concerns the demon fairy. And part of it is available on YouTube, or was last week when I looked this stuff up. The story goes thusly. Several years ago, a 13-year-old Mexican boy found this thing on the side of a highway where you usually find your fallen angels. They get run over very easily. Anyway, it ended up in the possession of a person described by one credulous website as well-known Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan. Other people know him as well-known UFO hoaxer Jaime Maussan. He was involved, for instance, in the Roswell slides, if you could bring up the next slide, which purported to show a mummified alien from the Roswell crash, but actually shows a mummified child in a museum display case with a cardboard little sign that actually says what it is. Shaw and Marzulli thought the demon fairy looked like creatures described in Revelation chapter 9. Revelation 9, which is different from Revolution 9, describes what occurs when the fifth angel blows his horn.
Not a euphemism.
No, not a euphemism. Some evil locusts.
Dirty.
Some evil locusts will appear. According to the New Revised Standard
Evil
version.
locusts.
Oh, yeah. Quote, in appearance, the locusts were like horses equipped for battle. On their heads were what looked like crowns of gold. Their faces were like human faces, their hair like women's hair, and their teeth like lions' teeth. They had scales like iron breastplates, and the noise of their wings was like the noise of many chariots with horses rushing into battle. They have tails like scorpions with stingers, and in their tails is the power to harm people for 5 months. Have as their king over them.
After that, they're fine.
Yeah. The angel of the bottomless pit, his name in Hebrew is Abaddon. In Greek, he is called Apollyon. Now, Shaw went on to explain that the creature looks like these locust things, and then he also explained why they don't look like the locust things. It's sort of a masterful performance that deserves a special place in the Journal of Special Pleading, and possibly also Cherry Picking Quarterly. As long as you ignore the battle horses, which would suggest quadrupedal creatures, crowns of gold, women's hair, lion's teeth, scales, the creature is almost exactly like the locusts, except for the locust part. But you see, wait for it, John of Patmos is using similes, which, first of all, suggests that they actually understand something about figurative language, which, good for them. But he's describing what the creatures are like, not what they actually are. So there was something on their heads that looked like golden crowns, but they may not actually have been golden crowns, you see. And whatever they were aren't there anymore because the mummy's really old. Of course, the locust thing is not presented as a simile. It says, then from the smoke came locusts on the earth. But really, the really important thing is just concentrate on the wings and the tail, because you see, the tail seems to have a stinger, if you can bring up the next slide.
I wonder why we don't see locusts in the smoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's clear. I mean, it's clearly a pixie to me, so.
A fairy. It's a fairy.
No, it's a pixie.
There, but
Pixies are nasty. The fairies are nice.
Yeah, true. I was just thinking it's a skinned fairy.
Yeah.
It's a mummy.
Can't tell if it's
pixie
dirty
mummy.
or, I mean, it's nasty or nice.
Or it could just be a bat.
Well, interesting. You should sort of mention that. They also claimed that X-rays showed a complete skeletal structure, even a broken leg. There were also spheres that were supposed to be birdshot that caused the creature's demise. And who knew demons were that easy to kill? The end times don't seem so damn scary now. If you can just, like, have a BB gun or something and just knock the little buggers out of the sky. Anyway, shockingly,
special buckshot.
Some people were skeptical.
No,
it's true. Among the skeptics was Michael S. Heiser, who has an MA in ancient history from Penn and a PhD in Hebrew, Bible, and ancient Semitic languages from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I believe he may also have a BA from Bob Jones University. But he's a believer, and he does have some strange. Well, he has some beliefs that probably the rest of us wouldn't have. But he also is interested in things like evidence. So he appears as an expert in the epic and footnoted video Ancient Aliens Debunked, and also has a website called SitchinIsWrong.com about Zachariah Sitchin, who translates ancient languages rather poorly. So he was skeptical and wanted the evidence to be submitted to peer review. Naturally, because of that, he was derided by Shaw and Marzulli. He contacted virtual skeptic emerita Sharon Hill, who wrote about the whole debacle on Doubtful News. And, okay, again, you're going to be shocked. It was a hoax.
No.
No, it's true. Yeah, after it was removed from its liquid bath, it dried out. It was made of wood, glue, plastic, and animal bits. Maussan had previously said the thing couldn't be a hoax because the boy didn't ask for money for it and was too stupid to fake it. And, just like the two girls who made the Cottingley Ferry photos were too dumb to fool middle-class adult males like Arthur Conan Doyle. Except, oops, they did. But it turns out Maussan...
that was low.
Yeah, allegedly paid $10,000 for the thing anyway. So the whole thing about money not being involved, not entirely true. And he seems to still be claiming that it's real. And this is not the first dead fairy hoax. In 2007, prop maker Dan Baines posted photos and a story about a fairy, if you can bring up the next slide, on April 1st. And I'll just let you work out that for yourself.
This one's cooler.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's giving me ideas for a new profession.
Yeah.
Just give me ideas for a Halloween costume.
I have some.
Give me ideas for dinner. I don't know why.
I don't know how to shrink myself that small, though.
Now, the thing that annoys me about this is that the dead fairies were called fairies, and in a lot of sources online that they were called fairies, and they're not. And I may be the only skeptic who looked at this and went, "That's not a fairy," and that was the thing that annoyed me.
It's like an alien fairy.
Well, to me, it's clear that they're in fact demons. And by that I mean they look like demons from late medieval art, particularly books of hours, in which you get Last Judgment scenes and also deathbed scenes where there are angels and demons fighting over the soul. So here are a couple of examples. The first image, if you could bring that up, is from Lady Margaret Beaufort's Book of Hours, which is from the mid-15th century. And in the upper quadrant, you can see demons and angels are playing tug of war over a naked soul.
Naked baby.
Yes. Yes, souls are often naked and in the form of a child. Anyway, the next image is from the Hours of Catherine of Cleves, which is a very famous image.
Yep.
It's also mid-15th century.
That's awesome.
And it shows a hell mouth. Double hell mouth. Possibly
double hell
mouth.
Yep.
And the next slide is a detail so you can see some of the demons a little bit better. And again, you have a number of black demons. Some are winged.
Yeah, one looks like a bug.
Yeah, one looks like a bug.
One looks like a sleek stack.
Ah, yeah.
And
It does.
and it kind of looks like a sarlacc.
Yeah, it's kind of Sarlacc-y. Which I'm sure that
And
that
even-
was kind of the influence, I guess,
It's
the
a
other way.
Gollum.
Even some of
Why
Hieronymus
has one got a
Bosch's
top hat?
demons. What?
Why does one have a top hat?
Where?
Little creature from the end of
The
space.
bottom. Is the one on the bottom have a
Baby, hello, my
top
darling. Hello, my ragtime gal.
hat? Okay.
Welcome
I'll let you
to
finish.
hell. But even some of Hieronymus Bosch's demons, of the next slide, kind of look like these guys. Although, God knows, Bosch had a wide variety of demons in his artwork. Now, this may seem like sort of trivial, but my point is this. When someone presents supposed evidence of a creature that's never been proven to exist, and that evidence just happens to look remarkably like artistic representations of that creature, especially when it has a long-standing artistic tradition, that alone should sort of send off warning signals. It might not be proof that the thing is a hoax, but it should make you very, very skeptical. And
But
just
maybe the artist
People think the opposite, though. They think the opposite. They think
Yeah.
it's a sign that these things existed and that the artists actually painted what they saw.
wrong,
Yeah.
really wrong. But as a quick example, though, I'd like you to look at the last slide. Now, as you can clearly see, this is a crocodile from a 13th century English bestiary. And if you don't believe me, look at the first word under there. I believe it is crocodilus.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Now, crocodiles, in fact, actually do exist. But this isn't exactly what they look like. It's close. But
Really?
generally, they're a tiny bit less mammalian, my understanding. Now, to be fair, of course, the artist had probably not seen one. So you have to assume they hadn't seen crocodiles, but they were seeing demons all the damn time. Now, but if someone said they had a taxidermied example of some ancient breed of crocodile that's died out, but it's still a crocodile, and it looks a lot like this picture, you know what? You'd be skeptical, and rightly so.
Yeah.
And I think, something similar may be happening with the demon art. If it turns up, something turns up, and you go, wow, that looks like a lot like a whole tradition of Christian art. Maybe that's where someone got the idea for this from.
You mean
I don't know.
like when you
and
see
the fact
the
it was
clouds
made
and you
from
see
plastic.
Jesus?
And chicken bones.
Yeah. What?
Like when you look at the clouds and you see Jesus in a white robe? Like that?
Well, there is that.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Because it's culturally... I mean, what you see, the kind of pareidolia you see also is sort of culturally bound as well.
Because of expectation.
Right. And I mean, it also goes along with like the Shroud of Turin, which looks like suspiciously
like Kenny Loggins.
not like someone from the Middle East, first of all, and also
it does look like Kenny Loggins.
yeah.
Well, it also looks like,
I gotta Google it and really look at it because in my memory, yeah, it does.
And that's all I got. Just
very, very, very interesting. and Barb is laughing her butt off. I love when that happens.
About Jesus Kenny Loggins.
Yes.
I'm a shroud.
That's new to you? Because there's a common meme on like Facebook and stuff where you see a picture where it says, yeah. Well, there's a picture of Kenny Loggins. It's like it says he died for you, and it's like the whole, but it's a picture of Kenny Loggins, and also they do.
Oh my God.
Obi-Wan, the actor does Obi-Wan Kenobi from the prequels because he looks like Jesus too. So. Yes.
Yeah, kind of.
I love it when I teach someone a new meme.
Oh my god.
New to them meme. Anyway, thanks for that very interesting, very funny story. I'm going to do my little thing and just one story this week about robots and stuff. And I'm going to show a couple of pictures, but first off, I'm going to explain what this is. See, you guys might have heard of a company called D-Wave. It's a Canadian company. One of the co-founders and chief technology officers of D-Wave is Geordie Ross. Ross? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He's Canadian. And they're the company that made one of the computers that supposedly uses quantum effects to do fast processing. Google owns one of them. I believe a government agency here in America owns one. I couldn't find exactly. I think it's the Navy has one, and they're doing experiments with it. Apparently, this guy also owns another company called Kindred AI. It's also Canadian, and they filed some patents this past week in America for some technology that they're going to be working on that is interesting. First off, this system that they filed a patent for is it's a way of capturing behavior of a human and capturing the knowledge of that behavior, whatever it is, whether it's doing a task or whether it's walking or whether it's something, and transposing that onto a robot, either through virtual reality means where they have a headset and they're like controlling a robot remotely, or by recording and doing some kind of analysis on the behavior and being able to transpose that to a robot platform or multiple robot platforms. In addition to this exoskeleton
this is
sensor
like already
thing,
scary, by the way.
I know this exoskeleton sensor array thing that the human might wear. And by the way, what I'm alluding to is the patent includes it to be used with other primates like monkeys and apes. So you take a organic thing, you put it in an exoskeleton, and you record its stuff, and you transpose that out to an army of robots. Now let's look at some pictures. So this is one of the pictures that was filed with a patent, and
Johnny Five.
It's not really clear what this is, but I mean this looks like a kind of humanoid-like robotic platform, but it has treads. But it has manipulating arms with hands on them and a sensor array that they can see. It isn't clear if what this is, but it seems like it is possibly the actor and not the recordee. So this would be controlled by, say, someone in one of these things. So this is another picture that was filed in the patent, and this looks like it's a suit that's worn by a human, or possibly in the patent it actually calls out monkey. Looks like it's got headphones and like an Oculus Rift kind of 3D goggles, and a suit that measures your arm movement. Now it's only torso, and it looks like maybe it has one leg, so maybe that's for locomotion, and it can record that
dangly spine.
I think it's a leg harness because it has a joint in it, like it's for the knee. So maybe that's how you tell if it's walking. But I don't know what the foot pedals are for. I mean, it's a patent. A lot of these things are kind of done in generalizations. But this would like record the behaviors and give the person an idea of wherever the robot it's controlling is, which reminds me of that movie FX. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Where the guy had a robotic clown he controlled in real time with his own suit.
Yes.
Yeah, but this would supposedly be mapped onto maybe multiple robots, and robots that can take and translate that behavior into something that's actually useful. See, the problem with the whole FX thing is the physics doesn't work. You need closed loop control to be balanced. You need to be able to sense your balance and then correct for it. We do it all the time as humans. To do that with a robot, it's hard. And if you could record the corrections that my body is making to keep me balanced and translate onto something else like a robot, it wouldn't work because it needs the data input for its own body weight and its own center of mass and its own little nuances of balance. So this also, in order for this to work, it would have to be more complicated than just a simple control unit. This was another picture that was included, and the idea is, this, I guess, it's just multiple users with virtual reality headsets controlling multiple robots over the cloud, which, as we should all understand, the cloud is not really a thing. It just means some kind of networking, usually the internet, and somebody else's machine.
That looks like IKEA instructions.
It does. That one in particular does look very much like IKEA. So the Swedes are going to take over the world with remote control virtual reality robots with the help of the Canadians, which is the last thing we would expect. So
clever and subtle.
I just thought it was very cool application. Actually, it's applications of none of this is new technology. It's all kind of an application of technology that exists and putting it together, kind of try to figure out how to fuse all these existing technologies together to get a platform that you can use for this kind of stuff, and possibly something really scary. Just saying. And that's this week in the Robot Apocalypse.
Yay!
I like it when everyone's quiet afterwards. That means they're secretly scared of technology.
Well,
did you play the music?
Yeah,
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
I don't remember being sufficiently frightened at the beginning.
Okay. I guess that's everyone's story. I was looking at Tim. I was trying to look at the onlines to see if anybody had anything to add. Nathan Miller's been active on Twitter.
On the cyber?
And he just, yes, he's been paying attention on the cyber. And been saying stuff. I can't really read it. It's
the cyber, it's not the nuclear, though.
Yeah. I am not young enough to understand the language on Twitter, so never mind. Anyway, let's wrap this sucker up. Did anybody notice if anybody answered our psychic trivia question?
Didn't Nathan Miller suggest it was pi?
Yes, he did. And technically that is between 1 and 10. But sorry, it was not pi. But close.
I like pi.
It was E. Never mind.
Yeah.
Natural log. You guys know any math? No.
Yeah. I saw math once.
E. Okay. Thanks, Nathan. Although the other question we had, which is the screen behind me, he totally got. He just now got it in right into the wire. And unfortunately, for some reason, my camera's washing the screen out this week. But if you paid a little bit of attention, you could see the hair, and that gives it away. What I'm running behind me is a number of episodes of a show called Adam Ruins Everything, and it's a guy named Adam Conover. He started out as like a YouTube video guy, and he kind of debunks modern understanding of things. And his show is funny and interesting, and he tries his best to annotate the claims he makes on the show. So in the show and on his website, you can actually look up the references he uses. Now, I know that he's not always completely accurate, but when you do these kind of shows, it's tough to be completely accurate all the time, and especially when you're trying to break myths and stuff. But it's very skeptical. It's entertaining as well. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's funny. It's entertaining.
I like this one about eyeglasses.
It's a really good show. Yes. That was a one I saw recently that was really good.
But my glasses are like 40% of my personality.
Yeah, funny. I know. It's pretty good. Yep. So go check it out. Do we have any announcements this week?
I have something up at Daniel Loxton's blog. The Skeptic.
The Insight?
Yeah.
Inside at Skeptic.
Insight without an S at
Yes.
.com.
He was also on the most recent Skepticality.
Yep.
I was.
Okay, so if you don't know what we're talking about, there's another podcast called Skepticality. Go check it out at skepticality.com. Bob does segments on it, and Eve does segments on it. Barb, I think, has done segments on it. But have you done segments on Skepticality?
Yeah, sort of.
I've
worked
did a thing
with Wendy, and I work on The Odds Must Be Crazy, and I did do some voice work on it, but and I've been on it like years and years ago, but.
Okay,
briefly.
but it's a good podcast. If you don't know it, go check it out. And the other thing, Insight.com is a kind of skeptical blog done by Dan Loxton, who is the editor of the Junior Skeptic, which is the kids-oriented magazine inside of Skeptic magazine, and he's also an artist and a very good one, and a wonderfully well-read person. If you've ever met him, he is just
former shepherd.
And former shepherd.
It's true.
Former shepherd.
Yes, I had an opportunity to interview him a few years back, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that's the announcements. Book time. Do we have book? No. Who's going first?
I'll go.
Go, Bob.
Chiropractic opposition to immunization can be traced to its founder. In 1889, 6 years before he discovered chiropractic, D.D. Palmer wrote, "Vaccination is a medical delusion."
From China.
From China.
Yeah.
And it leads to global warming. Who's next, Eve? Just going down the line.
How is he a freaking candidate? Sorry.
A little digging at the roots of this family tree reveals, for example, that the mid-1800s witnessed a spate of books combining visionary testimony of the hereafter with edifying descriptions of death. The ancient theme of the two deaths returned in the context of religious revival, taking such forms as deathbed scenes or dying with and without religion, designed to illustrate the truth and power of Christianity, compiled by a Methodist minister who revels in the contrast between the sweet demise of Wesley and his followers and the final agonies of Voltaire.
Aw, poor Voltaire.
Barbara?
Witnesses said Sean, 57, was left lying on the stage for nearly 5 minutes before the audience realized it was not part of his act. And an ambulance was called. Hospital spokeswoman Diane Yo said he received cardiopulmonary resuscitation in Scripps emergency room, but was pronounced dead at 9:55 p.m. He literally was probably on the stage 5 minutes until it was realized that it was serious, said Tom Wardle of San Diego, a member of the audience of about 500. The stagehand came out several times and obviously thought it was part of the act. It all blended in very well, Wardle added. There were comments from the audience like, "Take his wallet." Finally, a doctor came from...
I want to go out like that.
Finally, a doctor came from back of the wings, felt for his pulse, and realized that something had happened. He flipped him over. The audience reaction by then was, "Boy, this is out of taste." Yeah, apparently what I was reading before was wrong. It was a heart attack.
Ah. Okay, mine's quick and short. The scariest, most terrifying thing that I fear? Yeah, my imagination. I thought you were going to say fear itself. Then you have a small imagination. Go, what's your book, Bob?
My book is Spin Doctors, Chiropractic Industry Under Examination by Paul Benedetti.
Benedetti.
Yep.
Do you know, just as a side note, there's a billboard out here on Arthur Road near where I live of a a spinal surgeon at one of the local hospitals, and he has it's him smiling in his like lab coat, and he's playing a pelvis and spine at like a guitar.
I've seen that, and it was stupid.
And I don't think that. I think that he was the one that chose that image.
No
and
shit.
And his marketing people were going, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your book, Eve?
Otherworld Journeys, Accounts of Near-Death Experience in Medieval and Modern Times by Carol Zaleski. With a picture from William Blake of a soul hovering over a body.
Spooky. Barbara?
I was reading an article in the LA Times. Comedian Dick Shawn, 57, is stricken on stage, dies April 18th, 1987.
87, huh?
Yeah. Fascinating story. I just love the story. It's weird.
It is weird.
It is weird.
Cool.
It's, yeah. Yeah, he was a little too young, but yeah, if you got to die, it's a good way to go. Doing what you
make them laugh.
So it was 87. What time of year was it?
April 18th.
Okay. So I was in my summer of hell.
Your summer of hell?
Long story. I graduated high school in 87. And
my husband did too.
And I shipped out to the military in September of that year. So you can fill in the blanks if you want. My quote I just read is a short quote from a Stephen King novel called The Gunslinger, which is the first book in the Dark Tower series, which I have been chewing up and consuming as fast as I can. I read the first book early in the month, and I'm now at the fourth book. I'm so into this, and it's just drawing me in. Now, so far, the fourth book has not been the strongest of the four I've read, but I'm hoping that it gets better toward the end. So. But
according to my husband and sons, it does.
I'm loving it, and I mean it was one of the series.
It's not my favorite of his.
Yeah, it's one of my series that I've been meaning to get around to because I've heard people recommend it, and I know that they're making a movie and follow-up TV series with Idris Elba as the Gunslinger. So I love him as an actor, so I had to make time to catch up. So there you go.
Have you seen Luther? Have you watched Luther?
Yes, I did like Luther.
It's pretty good.
I binge watched that on like Netflix or something. I think it was Netflix.
Yeah, we did too.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the show. Thank you all for watching. Let me see if there's anybody that's demanding our attention on the social media. I don't think so. But Nathan, thanks for participating. As you always do, we like hanging out with you. Let's see. Alex Murdoch, Pierre Cloutier, some of the regular guys. Thank you for watching.
You look like the Romper Room. I see Billy.
Totally. Absolutely.
I don't get it.
And on that note.
Okay, I feel old.
Thank you guys. We're going to dance.
Going to exit. Pursued by
Virtual Skeptics is an independent production of What's the Harm.net, Skeptic Humanities, myself, ICBS Everywhere, and Doubtful News. Our logo is designed by Sarah Mayhew at sarahmayhew.com, and our theme music is by Musicant and with permission. Thanks for watching.